Shabbat, Perek Yud Zayin, Mishnah Zayin. So we're not going to talk about, let's look at the Rambam for a second. This is the Rambam, Perek Chaf Bet, way down in Perek Chaf Bet, Halacha Chaf Zayin in Hilchot Shabbat. Says the Rambam, Haoseh ohel kavua, if you make a tent, if you build a permanent tent, chayav mishum boneh. That's boneh, you built. The fikach, the Rambam says, ein oisin ohel arai lechatchila. I cannot make a temporary tent on Shabbat. V'lo osotrin ohel arai. Nor can I take down a temporary tent, a camping tent. Why? Zeira shema yaseh o yistor ohel kavua. Because maybe then I'll make or take down an ohel kavua, a permanent tent, and that's boneh or soter. V'im asa o soter ohel arai patur. If you did it, if you built a temporary tent, then patur aval asur, like we said. Umutar lahosif ohel arai b'Shabbat. What about adding? This is the term, lahosif ohel arai. If I have a tent, let's say, can I then, roll down? Let's say I have a tent and I want to roll down a wall. I want to add. So the Rambam says, if it's an ohel arai, I can't make an ohel arai, but I can lahosif ohel arai. I can add to an ohel arai. This halacha is the subject of our Mishnah. Can I be mosif ohel arai on Shabbat? So that all comes by way of kakachalon, by the way of the windows. Okay. Now windows in ancient times, if you look at Wikipedia, okay, well, you'll notice that windows were in the early 13th century were the windows that we knew. Okay, the Romans were the first to use glass or windows. That was way beyond, and that was like a tiny, tiny window that they would have. In earlier times, a window was simply an opening. It was an opening in the side of a building. Okay, and it was an opening, and then the way you would close the window is you would put what's called, and Mishnah calls it, a pekak chalon. What they would put is a stopper. They would put a piece of wood or what have you to block up the window. Meaning, in the morning you would open the window so you get air and light, and in the night you would close it and lock it in such a way that it would be couldn't get in. There was no such thing as glass that would allow light or air screens to come in. So you have this pekak chalon. Question is, can I put the pekak chalon in my window on Shabbat? So pekak chalon, the Mishnah says, the stopper of the window. Rabbi Lezer says, Bizman shu kashur v'talui, if it is kashur, tied to the wall, v'talui and hanging, i.e. it's not dragging on the ground, then pokekinbo, then I can stop up the window. V'im lav ein pokekinbo, and if it's not both tied to the wall and also not dragging on the ground, ein pokekinbo, you can't stop up the window. Why? The Bartanura says, okay, michzei kimosif al binyan. It looks like you're adding to the building because you're taking something that was not tied and you're putting it on the building. The Savar Rabbi Lezer says, ein mosifin ohel arai b'Shabbat. You cannot add to a temporary structure on Shabbat. It looks like you're being mosif ohel arai. You're adding a temporary addition on Shabbat. And the Chachamim said, ben kach u ben kach, whether it's connected or not, whether it's dragging on the ground or not, pokekinbo. Why? Because since the Chazal say, ho'il, the Rabbanan said, ve'ein haya muchan met molakach. This was your window stopper. Who cares if it's tied? You leave it on the ground and you stick it out. You tie it, you put it on the window. Save Rabban, the Rabban hold mosifin al ohel arai b'Shabbat. You can add to a temporary structure, to a temporary ohel on Shabbat. And we pass it like a chachamim, which is why we look at the Rambam. He says mutar lohosif ohel arai b'Shabbat. You're allowed to add to an ohel arai on Shabbat itself. Okay, we'll stop here. As always, comments or questions, feel free to contact me at my email address, rspolter@gmail.com. And we'll dedicate our learning to the memory of my father, Rav Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Have a good day.